of my least favorite jobs. Mother trucker. It's me, Kevin. I'm here in the jungle. It's got my trusty AR and extra mags. I'll probably need it in this wild country. There's snakes and brush and enemy communists everywhere. I'm just kidding. Nope. This is my Indian corn patch. It is growing super tall. I had talked about babying it, using fertilizers and stuff, and I didn't. I have not fertilized this really at all. I'm having to remember now. I might give it a shot of nitrogen when I planted it, but I don't think I even did that. Anyway, we have corn plants in here at least 10 foot tall. Maybe closer to 12. I don't know. I haven't measured them, but gosh, this is some tall corn. Planted it on Easter, as I recall. And so now we're leaving the vegetative stages and we're entering the reproductive stages. So I'm going to give you some education on corn reproduction. Starting with the tassel. This is a tassel. The top of a corn plant that has entered the reproduction stages has a tassel. If it's still in the vegetative growth stages, it mostly just looks green. There's not really any tassels to them. Anyway, this is a tassel. And all those little pink little grains, those are pollen granules. And that is the male reproductive part of a corn plant. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe you can. Yeah, right there. That's a crane. Just come from the creek. Anyway, back to focusing. So that's the male reproductive part. We can call it the sperm. We can call it, well, let's not call it a penis because it's not. But anyway, it's pollen. Now, how the corn reproduces, it can reproduce with itself. It can reproduce with other corn. One ear can have several baby daddies. Let me explain. So, when it's reproductive time, these granules will fall. In fact, if I jostle this plant, I bet several of them fall. You can see right in there, a couple have already fallen. And when they fall, the leaves, because of the anatomy of the leaves, like this is a good example. These are good examples. See this corn leaf? The grain will fall on it and roll and fall and roll and fall. The leaves act as little funnels and direct the pollen to the ears, which we've got here. I'll use this plant's a little easier to see. We've got an ear here and an ear here. This corn plant's putting on two ears. These are called silks, which are kind of, well, we'll call it like the vagina, I guess, of a person or an animal. This is hard to compare to, but I'm trying to explain it so you'll understand. Anyway, each one of these silks, every single one, you can see there's tons of them. Every single one goes to a kernel in the ear. So if you have 800 kernels, there's 800 silks. If you have 200 kernels, there's 200 silks. Ooh. Okay. Right there's a pollen and there's a pollen. When the pollen hits the silk becomes fertilized. Ooh, there's a couple pollens already in there. But anyway, within 24 hours of a pollen granule, the male organ, the male part, hitting the silk, the female part, within 24 hours, the silk will die, shrivel up, and turn and go away because the pollen has already gone through the silk to the kernel, which is the female reproductive organ. So that would be more like the ovaries. In fact, they're called ovules, I think I'm saying that right, when they are at this stage. So, recap. This is like, I don't know, it's a tube going to the ovaries, which they're not ovaries, they're ovules. The corn, the male pollen hits the silks, goes to the ovules, and then once the fertilization is complete, the silk will die off. The silks, if they don't get fertilized, will continue to grow. Okay, so if it's a short silk when it dies, it got fertilized early. If it's long like these, it took a little longer. That's okay, there's nothing wrong with it. But there is a time frame. Approximately 10 days after the silks have emerged, they start to wither and die off just from natural death. There's a pussy cat. Hello, cat. Anyway, so now that you understand all that, one of the reasons why this is such a vital stage is because if the plant is stressed, it can shorten the lifespan of the silks. Insects, specifically corn beetles, they will eat the silks, and they don't eat it here at the tips. They'll bite it somewhere in the middle and sever it, and then the kernel cannot be fertilized. So that would be a bad deal. This corn seems to be. Oh, and when I said one plant can have multiple baby daddies, if this corn plant right here, the one that we've been looking at, there's the silk. It's one of the tallest ones out here. If I give it a little jostle, okay, some of the pollen grains fell, and it maybe have fertilized this plant, and this plant, and this plant, and that plant, and that plant, maybe. And if it did, it maybe only fertilized 1 or 2 kernels on each plant, maybe. Which is why when you're growing corn, it is always better to grow it in blocks, like this is a block of corn, than rows. If you grow one single row, your fertilization rate will not be very good. Whereas here I have 6 rows on 30-inch rows, and it's in a block, it's in a rectangle. Then any of the middle plants can fertilize every plant around it. Whereas if it was in a single row, it would be much harder less likely for the grain to hit a silk, the pollen grain. Anyway, I hope that made sense. It maybe did not, but I hope it did. And I'm excited to see what harvest brings. It is July 8th, and we're already reproducing our Indian corn. Turns out it was the bowl.